1,565 days since Fort Bliss. It, you've got that right. You've heard that right. If you're just joining today because of all of our breaking news, um, you've heard that right. This was a code red. Richard was ordered to be murdered. And, there's just a lot of things happening today, the day before the election. And of course, Team Fine Richard Halliday, we have officially endorsed President Donald John Trump. We have endorsed President Trump for President of the United States. We've been working this case for over 4 years. And, this administration, Sleepy Joe, as they call him, yeah, Sleepy. Um, and I would believe complicit to the criminal trafficking at the border, because, you know, they just let it happen. They just let it happen. And, and it has caused so much crime, so many deaths, so many hurt people. And I've been watching parents of loved ones, their sons and daughters, their brothers or sisters, their aunts or uncles, for many different reasons, like the murder at the border or being trafficked at the border, um, even over the border, where you're just visiting Mexico and you're, wanting to go to the beach and you get killed. Um, and of course, the rapes, and of course, the fentanyl deaths. Um, it's just an atrocity, and that we don't protect our country, that we don't protect our sons and daughters, that we don't have such a strong name that criminals wouldn't dare touch one of our citizens. There was a time, and I guess I'm telling my age a little, but people wouldn't dare touch you. I used to travel all over, and I felt safe, um, because of being an American, because we had the full faith, trust of our government behind us, and people knew that we were protected, and that if you messed with an American, you were messing with the whole country. Um, and now we have Richard, volunteer, son of this republic, um, adopted from Poland, right? Adopted from Poland, became an American citizen, joined the military at the very, very sweet young age of 18. Aspired was a distinguished honor graduate for basic training and for advanced individual training. His first sergeant said, you'd ask anything from him and he would do it without complaint. Without complaint. Was promoted with waivers, um, and was the guidon bearer. Just magnificent. Uh, we're very proud of him. And he was taken. He was murdered. He was murdered not by, um, some foreign country. He was a code red. It was in internal. Internal. It was an order from his command that, and why? Because Fort Bliss leadership, Fort Bliss was doing some dirty deeds. They are compromised with the cartel. They are absolutely complicit with the criminal trafficking. And I say criminal trafficking because people normally think of just like sex trafficking or child trafficking, or narcotics trafficking. But this is also weapons trafficking and ammunition trafficking, big scale, big scale. And, we've spent 4 years gathering hard evidence. And this last week has just been another whopper, breaking news, a whopper, because number one, um, Patrick Crusius with these hearings at the Walmart mass shooting. And why do we talk about the Walmart mass shooting on Find Richard Halliday? When Richard has been officially declared deceased, why do we say Find Richard Halliday? Because where's his remains? Where are his remains? We want his remains. And why do we bother with the Walmart mass shooting? Because the Walmart mass shooting was orchestrated to cover up the whistleblowing reports. Um, there was other motives, but a huge motive was to cover up the audits and the ongoing investigations that were a result from Richard's whistleblowing complaints that he had filed. And Fort Bliss didn't want to be audited. They didn't want ongoing investigations. And so the bloody, very atrocious Walmart mass shooting was orchestrated. And clearly, in one day, in less than a few hours, it was a lone wolf shooter that was a racist, that had a axe to grind, from this wealthy family living like, superstar, almost 100,000 a year. I would say 70. I don't want to say the exact amount, but he was living a pretty posh life in San Antonio, but he had to go all the way to El Paso because he didn't like Hispanics. It was just such a very bad orchestration. I don't know who planned all this, but uh, Patrick Crusius has now uh, been exposed for his autism, and and because of that, in these hearings, you see Loretta Lynn Hewitt, who was the lead prosecutor in the case, and I hope I get all of this right, because it is can be very convoluted, and you have to have like a paralegal degree or a law degree um, to uh, you know find your way through this labyrinth. Um, but once if you're like a drone, you can see it clearly. If you can fly over it, you can see it clearly, and that's what all this evidence has done. It's lifted us higher, higher. Um, Fueled our drone, right? So we can really see this labyrinth, and how they've navigated it. And Loretta Lynn Hewitt came out, and, because she sees that the evidence is out there, I think. I don't want to speak for her. But she testified that, of course, uh, Patrick Crusius is so autistic. You know, um, he has. I don't think she used the word autistic, even though that's confirmed now that he's autistic. But that his mental health was so severe that his neighbors knew. His neighbors knew. I mean, we received reports that his neighbors were saying he was banging his head on the sidewalk when he was 3 years old. That's pretty severe. And Loretta Lynn Hewitt testified that she her witnesses said that they had told the family that he shouldn't have been able to even live when he was a child. He was so sickly. Um, that's pretty severe. And so I've been watching Patrick Crucius, and have been reporting that I believe that he was autistic, and I've been watching him very closely, and I haven't seen him speak. I think he's nonverbal because a lot of autistic individuals are nonverbal, especially if they're severe. So this is really, that's a question I'd like answered. And because of what has happened this week, clearly showing injustices done to the case, um, now getting more evidence, more people reaching out, giving us more evidence, and you know, Joe Spencer, who is Patrick Crucius's lead defense attorney. And I'm going to say this by memory, okay? I'm just going to say it by memory. You can go and look at the quotes that we posted. But he was absolutely saying that he could get Judge Medrano to do what he wanted him to do, that he could get the media relief off of Judge Medrano. Like Joe Spencer seems to control El Paso and the media and the media. But really, what was really absolutely, let's make sure that I'm on so I can see any comments. If anyone has questions, I'll do my best to answer them, because this is really a big deal. Richard's case is, I would say, yeah, I'm on. Okay. I would say that this case is so big, y'all. It's just, it's so big. It's I can't even think of other cases that are bigger, except for like JFK. You know, um, and we don't even know all the truth on JFK because that's been sealed, and this is what's been going on in the Walmart mass shooting case. That Richard's truth is beneath the Walmart mass shooting case, and I believe it is the undoing of the Walmart mass shooting case that will give us back our son's remains. I believe that. And I believe that it will give us the accountability to those who did this to Richard, to the murderers, to the people that have covered this up, that have put us through absolute hell, that lied to us. Richard's command lied to us, lied. And that put up a lot of red flags. And that's why when the evidence came out that this was a code red, and it was confirmed that it was a code red, we we knew enough to accept it, because that is super hard to accept from a family that has dedicated its lives to the military, to the Army, to Air Force, years and years. Rob alone, very decorated. Rob is a very decorated veteran. Stellar record, stellar. I mean, just an amazing 30 years that he served, and it was tough. A lot of deployments, lots of deployments, um, and just a hero. He's an absolute hero, and like Richard, absolutely like Richard. Well, Richard like his dad. he went in to give his all. And, so we believe that absolutely the Walmart case is the door to um, getting accountability and getting our son's remains. And with um, what what came out the last couple days, and I was up until like 3 o'clock in the morning last night, um, trying to really understand what had just happened. And we then, um, and it's been a long day, and it's, day before the election. It's also, a birthday day in our family, a birthday day. Um, but this is so important. So we sent out a letter. We sent out a letter, a big letter. Um, I tell you, Red Eye. Ooh, I was so glad for that extra hour. And the last couple days, that extra hour, I've never been so glad for that extra hour like I was the last couple days. That extra hour of sleep, or work, the extra hour of work. And so we sent out a letter today, and we shared that for the most part, in entirety, the letter with um, with the public today, and it has the quotes from the audio recordings of Joe Spencer. And Joe Spencer, um, just sounding like he has control, or he's part of that rogue criminal group that has a controller of El Paso, of Fort Bliss. And, you know, but he says, like, and I'm doing this from the top of my head, like 2 days after the incident, he went to go and see Patrick Crusius, and Patrick Crusius couldn't even wrap his, couldn't even fathom. That's the word that he said, fathom, what had happened, and that, he might have killed one or two. And I don't even know. I have some doubts, because Pat Joe Spencer is such an unreliable person. Um, because I think he's saying the truth, but not really saying the truth. Because I don't think that Patrick Crusius really is verbal. So unless those words were put in his mouth, I just don't think he's verbal. I'd really like to hear him talk. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's very verbal. I haven't heard it. Has anybody heard him speak? Because I'm thinking he's nonverbal. And Joe Spencer is saying that, you know, he only killed maybe, if any, one, two individuals. Yet Joe Spencer, knowing that his mind is not sound, and all of this other stuff, we have provided Joe Spencer with all of our investigative, not all of it, but what we thought was important, like Patrick Crusius was magistrated by a fake judge, like a fake judge, not even an authorized judge. I mean, his hands weren't even bagged for evidence when he was, arrested, when he surrendered to a Hispanic police officer, and they were calling him a racist, that he hated Hispanic people, and yet he's just surrounded by Hispanic people, and he doesn't show any. He's just it is the most absurd. It is so absurd, and so there's so much insanity in 2020, and I guess the narrative of Patrick Crusius, um, just could not be unraveled in the insanity of 2020 and 2021. Um, of course, the Walmart mass shooting happened August 3rd, 2019. And, uh, the power, of this control of this to say, oh, yeah, I met with him 2 days. He couldn't even phantom. But he didn't even have anything on his clothes. When you are doing what they say he did very close up, very close up, especially the pressure, you would get dirty doing that. You would get dirty. He didn't get dirty. He didn't get dirty. And Joe Spencer is supposed to be his lead defense attorney. And now he's playing like the two faces of Joe Spencer. He's going to, this state case and saying, "Oh yeah, you know, he's not in the right mind. He doesn't understand what happened and what he did and everything like that." When months ago, right? Um, when did all that take place? Maybe a couple years ago. It's been so long, 5 years, 5 years. So, like years ago, I have to say, years ago, um, of course, through these years, he's been collecting millions of dollars, right? Because he was, and you see that in the recording, I'm not going to do that if I have to, if I don't have money for this or money for that. I want an open wallet, an open, isn't that what he says? Some kind of, he wants the money. He wants the money. And, really defending Patrick Crusius, I don't think would have, because it's so easy to defend Patrick Crusius at this point, and even then, it was so easy to say, look, why didn't you bag his hands? Why didn't you read him his Miranda rights? Why did you magistrate him with a fake judge, with this fake person posing as a judge who has no authority that arraigned him? I mean, that really botches the case. Why do we have a usurper DA? I mean, we have given him all of this, right? And he hasn't mentioned it. He is like, with a defense attorney like this, who needs an enemy? Who needs a prosecutor? With a defense attorney like this, who needs a prosecutor? Because listen to this. He lied to somebody, because he has two faces. So he's telling the federal court that Patrick Crusius is all together, and absolutely knows that he killed 23 individuals. And you know what they gave Patrick Crusius? 90 life sentences. 90 life sentences. That's like, at that, let's say it's 100, 110, 120 years for a life sentence. So I call it 1,000 years, right? 1,000 years. Maybe I'm over exaggerating a little bit. Maybe, I'm thinking Patrick Crusius could live a really very long, long life. Um, but it's a long time. 1,000 years is a long time. 90 life sentences is a long time. And this is what Joe Spencer plea deal to get for his client, knowing that he just had no clue, knowing all of these other things. Clearly, he wanted to do it for his power. Clearly, Joe Spencer wanted to do it for his power and for his purse, for his personal financial economic gain. Clearly, millions of dollars. And so I think we just broke the Walmart mass shooting case. I think we just broke, Team Find Richard Halliday just broke the Walmart mass shooting case. Uh, so we broke our son's case, and now we're breaking the Walmart mass shooting case, and now we put our heads together and filed a this letter to so many people, to the media, who has really let us down as Americans. The media has really let us down. They're very, very compromised. They're very compromised, um, and they're under a lot of pressure. And I absolutely understand uh, where they're at right now, that they're so compromised, that they're so under pressure that they can't possibly do their job. They really, it's like, you know, you've got the law enforcement compromised with um, with the Mexican cartel, and I don't know if any of you listened to Tucker Carlson, but Tucker Carlson had a guest on his podcast, and they were talking about California and being ran. It's kind of like a proxy. They had a word for it, and I need to go back and listen to it again because I thought that that word was just amazing, and I needed to write it down, but I was cooking while I was listening, and um, but it was that the cartel was absolutely uh, running California, and they, like these groups of people, like in San Francisco, would be making money. They were Americans, and they would be making money selling drugs and stuff. And when the cartels came in, they said, you can't sell any of these illegal drugs without our permission. And so then they either had to kind of stop their business, they had to leave, go somewhere else, or they had to join in with the cartel, right? They had to compromise themselves with the cartel. Otherwise, and this was the main point I wanted to tell you, otherwise, they would cut their heads off. And they were very serious. And now we know, because we just had, government officials in Juarez, Mexico, um, being killed by decapitation. And we know they're absolutely serious about that. Um, is that what we want? Is that what we want for our lives, for our children's lives? We want this trafficking to get so big that that's what we have? That's not what I want. That's not the future that I want. And I absolutely know that that Richard was dismembered because of the partial remains situation that we're dealing with. And that is what we believe is the primary reason why they won't give us our son's remains, is because he was dismembered. And that is huge evidence of the atrocity of what they did. And they don't want us to have that evidence. Because they sold Richard out. They code red murdered him. They ordered his murder because they are absolutely compromised with the Mexican cartel and this trafficking. And we have hard evidence with it. Now we have hard evidence that Joe Spencer was throwing, it seems like he was throwing his client out to the wolves. 90 life sentences when he didn't even defend him properly. And then he parades him around in that jail outfit with the chains. It's so illegal, y'all. Because in the state case, they're 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 in pretrial. These are pretrial hearings. They haven't even picked the jury yet, and so parading him around is tampering with the jury pool. So not only is Joe Spencer accused of tampering with the jury pool, but also tampering with witnesses, tampering with whistleblower witnesses. Um, you know, falsifying. Uh, he's just, he is bad news. He's bad news. And so, yeah, I thought that we would come on here and let everyone know, um, and that we're writing these letters. We're going to just send them out, send them out, send them out. And maybe somebody will understand the absolute weight of them. We feel like um, it's just one of the biggest cases, and that we just broke the Walmart mass shooting case. And that's not the biggest case. The biggest case is our son's case. It's huge. It really is. Um, so I put out a little rap song for people to understand and share. And I hope that, we're being shadow banned, we're being blocked. This is, we're up against all these law enforcement, you know, a very corrupt, compromised, I should say, a very compromised system. The system itself is beautiful. That's why they want it. They want to infiltrate and take these positions so that the law cannot be applied, that the law cannot be established, that the system cannot do its checks and balances, that, the beauty of it. They want to cheat. They want to cheat us, and then they want to um, badmouth our system, right? They want to badmouth our Constitution and the Texas Constitution and the law enforcement setup, the whole judicial setup that we have that's so beautiful. But they're not telling you really the truth. And the truth is that you have individuals that are imposters, you have usurpers, you have, look, the entire El Paso um, uh, magistrate court there, criminal law magistrate court, is seated by imposters. They're criminals. Oh, they're appointed. No, they can't be appointed. That court has full countywide jurisdiction. They have to be elected. And so the law says so. The law says they have to be elected. It's a beautiful system. But see, these imposters, they just lie to people and say, oh, we're appointed, and so we can tell you what to do, um and you have to listen. And yet they have no authority at all. The law doesn't give them the authority. The system doesn't give them the authority. It's the criminals that have imposed themselves upon us. And we're busy working and doing this and that, raising our families. And we trust, and yet they are con artists. They're lying to us. And the same thing with Bill Hicks, and the same thing with Joe Spencer now. Because we know Bill Hicks didn't sign his anti-bribe line before he took the oath of office. And the law says that he is not the district attorney because he didn't sign the anti-bribe line before he took the oath of office. It's a beautiful system. And now you've got Joe Spencer not doing, what is it called, candor, something of candor, office of candor, the oath of candor. Yeah, I'm telling you, you have to have a paralegal degree. But he has to be truthful to the federal court as to the state case. And he wasn't. He wasn't. He's a big fat liar. He's a manipulator. And I don't know what the federal court is going to say about this because they gave Patrick Crusius 90 life sentences, not 9, not 20, not 30, not 50, not 70, 90, 90 life sentences. I mean, we've got drug dealers that have killed lots of people that, they go in 15 years. 36 years, right? 36 years for this Elmayo co-worker, what was his name? And Garcia, I believe Garcia. The whole Elmayo thing is absolutely connected to Richard's case. It's connected. And so if it's connected, is it connected to Joe Spencer? I don't know. I don't know. I know that Joe Spencer is up to no good, and the audio recordings is hard evidence that confirms what we have said. It confirms our suspicions that they were framing Patrick Crusius, a special needs individual, in this orchestrated atrocity, bloody atrocity, in order to divert the law enforcement community from the investigations, the ongoing investigations, and the audits that were a result of what Richard was reporting on. And of course, you've got these same people that were targeting us, targeting Richard's case, targeting our son, that are part of the Walmart mass shooting and up to no good in it. And if you read the letter, you'll understand what I'm talking about with Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia. And we didn't mention Leilani Hart in there. It's like your brain can only take so much, but Leilani Hart is absolutely part of this and absolutely connected to Joe Spencer. So, and the defense team, and so we broke now the Walmart mass shooting. Team Find Richard Halliday, we have the breaking news. The media, the mainstream media, the legacy media, they haven't reported this. Team Find Richard Halliday is reporting this. And it's huge, and I hope that you share it. And thank you so much for coming on. And we love you. And we love our troops, and we love our country. We love our law, and we want it back. We want it back from these people that don't appreciate it, don't love it, misuse it, get into these positions and absolutely take advantage and seek to destroy it because it's so beautiful. So and seeks to destroy our sons and daughters if they can't do their criminal activity the way they want. If any of our sons and daughters get in the way, they seek to destroy our loved ones. And so, it's we've got the law on our side, and so we're using that. We're using the law. We're trying to do it the right way. I think we've been doing pretty good using the law, identifying crime, documenting the crime, filing it filing it with all of the agencies and organizations and institutions, and and I think we're being very successful. Look what just happened. We just broke the Walmart mass shooting case. So thank you so much. God bless you, and I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye.